Okay, so we have a big piece of square stock that I think I'm going to do a spear. So we're going to pull it out. I'm going to kind of pound down the corners a little bit to make the shaft of the spear a little bit more round, or more like an octagon. And then we're going to pound the tip flat. So at first, just set it so that there's like 6-8 inches of the metal this way, and I'll pound on the corners, like hold it that corner. So yep, ready. Pull it back a little bit. Definitely gonna have to cut down a big chunk of tree stump or something and actually mount this down with like railroad spikes. Heat up. It's definitely not easy work, but when the zombies come, you're going to be glad you have these skills. And yes, I'm totally serious about the zombies. Now it's nice and hot. Towards me. Flip. Towards you. Reheat. So now it's starting to really flatten out, and I'm just working on like every hit, I'm hitting it at a different angle. Hit one side, angled this way, hit the other side, angled that way. That way it gets to a nice diamond shape with sharp edges. So I'd say that's a pretty successful basic little forge we built today. Built it entirely out of scraps we had laying around. Now in the future we'll probably be building one a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and bigger doors so we can do full-length swords and that sort of stuff. We'll probably use like a 3-burner setup, maybe do forced air to get it really, really hot so we can actually melt the steel, and do forge welding so we can do some Damascus steel. So now we're just doing the rough grind knife. Spear shaped up pretty nicely. I mean, if this was zombie apocalypse time, I'd say this is pretty much good enough. And just start stabbing away. So we're going to get this it's done up real nicely. Okay, so we got everything set back up, got the forge heated up. We annealed the knife and the spear, and now we're just going to quench it. I have the water down here. Preheated that a little bit. It's freezing cold out, so you don't want the water to be ice cold. It's more of a, probably around 60 degrees right now, so I'm just going to fill that up a little bit more. And got a nice even heat on it, and I'm just going to do the quenching since I have most experience with that. And if you don't quite do it right, it's not going to turn out right. So I'm just going to move it back and forth to make sure that the heat's nice and even. Okay, now I'm just going to pull it out really quickly, plunge it into the water for a few seconds until it's not glowing, pull it out for a fraction of a second to let the heat redistribute, and then dunk it back in. Now up here is the handle, so that doesn't really matter if it hardens. You don't want the handle really hardened, so. Now we have a hardened steel blade. Okay, I'm going to pull this out, plunge it into the water, spin it around. Hopefully it goes well. Okay, so we're pretty well done. I think we're gonna shut down the forge and start polishing. Okay, so I got my spear pretty well cleaned up. I'm not gonna go too crazy. This was just a quick little project to play around with. More a test of the forge than anything. It is razor sharp. I did a pretty good job sharpening it, and just going to weld it into a steel shaft. This is basically going to be a zombie apocalypse weapon. It doesn't need to be pretty, it just needs to be functional. So like these areas, normally I would grind out if I was making a nice display piece or a high-end piece, but I'm just gonna weld this up and show you guys how it came out. Okay, so it was a pretty successful day. We got the forge made, we got a big pointy zombie apocalypse spear, tinted steel dressing knife, and just gonna paint this up tomorrow, do some demonstrations. It's pretty heavy, and once you get it going, it's definitely going to go through pretty much anything you point it at. So, it should be fun. Hey everyone. At the time of actually making the spear, we made this last fall into winter, and it was really cold, didn't really get any targets set up or really do much of anything as far as throwing it around. So I just put the GoPro on and ran around the woods, stabbing trees and stumps and stuff. So you guys can check out how it actually performs. It's pretty effective. I mean, once you get this thing moving, it's not going to stop until it goes through your target. And as far as using it as a club, it's also quite effective. So, pretty cool little weapon, cool little zombie apocalypse survival weapon.